Hello, hello, hello. Okay, give me just 1 second because I need to. Hey, Kathleen. I need to get live on TikTok too. I need to go grab um my phone thing, tripod, that thing. How was everybody's New Year's? We haven't seen each other since before New Year's. I hope everybody had a wonderful New Year. I typically don't celebrate like New Year's. Like for me, I like sleep. So I don't normally stay up to watch like the ball drop and all that. So I don't think I've seen the ball drop on a New Year's in probably, I don't know, 10, 11 years. So it's just not something that I really care to do. Like I'd rather get my rest. And I did get some really good rest on New Year's, and I got some good rest last night. I got like almost 8 full hours of sleep without a break. I was very, very happy about that. I'm a little chilly, so I'm going to grab my robe and use the bathroom. Sorry, I can't mute it. I'm already away from it. We're going to chat a little bit about what's going on with Gypsy, the baby, that sort of thing. We're going to do that first, and then we're going to get on to the book reading. But I know a lot of people are curious about what I think about the situation. So I am going to talk about what I think about the situation. Going to give my opinion rather than doing like I'm going to do it on live rather than doing it in a video. So honestly, I'm a little annoyed. And the reason why I am annoyed is because there are a lot of rumors going around that Gypsy didn't really have this baby on the day that she said she had the baby. People are also saying that, she had the baby a month early and that the timeline is wrong, this, that, and the other. And that her hair color was different in the photos, and her hair was longer in some photos, and she didn't look pregnant, this, that, and the other. And I just want to say, none of that shit matters. Like none of it matters. It doesn't matter what her fucking hair color looked like. Doesn't matter how long her hair was. Like that shit is irrelevant to the entire like situation. I don't know why people are speculating about that stuff, because it's not doing anything to help anyone. It's not helping educate everybody about her lies. It's not helping educate anybody about her manipulating all these men in her life, including her family. It's not educating anybody on Dee Dee and how Gypsy was abusive towards Dee Dee. Like, it's not helping. It's not doing anything. All people are doing is gossiping, because they know that. Thank you for liking the live, Chrissy. They know that gossip is going to attract people to their videos. And right now, as badly as like they want people to watch their videos, they want to make money off of the situation. I get it. Everybody has to make money, and you got to get your bag doing something. But how is talking about her hair color, her hair length, her pregnancy belly looking different in pictures, what is that doing? What's the end game there? If to me, it feels like people are speculating on the stupidest shit because they've run out of things to talk about. And it also feels to me like they are purposely nitpicking things about her just to continue talking about her in a negative way. Like, I do not care for Gypsy at all. I don't. But I think that it's stupid. I do. I think that it's dumb to talk about her hair color, to talk about her baby bump in this picture and in that picture. I also think that it's dumb to talk about, oh, well, she shouldn't be on social media. I also think that it's dumb to continue talking about the fact that, she got away with murder. We all know that. We all know that. There is literally nothing that we can do today to change what happened 10 years ago when she was convicted of this crime. So focusing on like how to promote a more educational experience. So yes, Gypsy is trolling everyone. How to promote an educational experience for everyone so that we are able to continue sharing her lies, the manipulation. All of those things are more important than what the fuck her hair color was this week from last week. Like, that shit does not matter. I just don't understand why it's gotten to that point that we're talking about the size of her baby bump and her hair color. It to me, it just seems really like immature. It seems like fucking high school. Souffle, that's definitely a possibility. Hold on. So Chrissy, I'll let you up, but I am gonna be reading this book in a minute. So if you don't, we can talk about Gypsy for a minute, and then if you want to stay on and just have your mic muted while I read, that's cool. But I'll let you up. Let me I need to find my earphones so that everyone else can hear you. Cuz I need to take my earphones out so everyone else can hear you. I know I had them just a second ago. Are you there? Okay. Okay. I was looking for my earbud case so that I could take my earbuds out, but I can't find it. I think I can take it. Okay. No, I'm ready. I'm ready. I was just saying that I'm gonna be doing the book reading and didn't know if you wanted to stay like on as a guest while I do that. Or while everyone does that, and then you can just keep your mic muted. But it sounded like you wanted to like you had some opinions on this
it's
whole
just like
Gypsy
a
stuff.
new year, and she thinks she's a celebrity, and celebrity tactics that they do, like from her Christmas picture that she posted. Was that really taken on Christmas Day? Was it really posted on Christmas Day? Like, I haven't cared to go back and fact check. Like, she could have taken that picture after she had her baby, and that's why she didn't have the baby bump. It is so close. Like, her baby was born on the 28th. Christmas was on the 25th. But I'm a divorced parent, and I don't always get my kids on Christmas Day. Sometimes we celebrate on the 27th. Sometimes we celebrate on the 23rd. We have 8 kids. So trying to get everybody together to celebrate Christmas isn't always on Christmas Day. So people fail to see, like, oh my gosh, this was Christmas. We clearly can see that her baby bump is gone. But that doesn't mean they didn't. I think it was posted afterwards, right?
I honestly, are you talking about the photo with her in that white sweater?
Yeah.
So there's 2 pictures. One where she's standing up with Ken, and looking very, very pregnant in that photo. And then the next one, she's sitting down. I think that was done on the same exact day.
It was, but I think, AI does a lot in photoshopping. We can make ourselves look done up on our worst day with no makeup and make ourselves look good. I mean, the internet does like FBI investigating. They'll break shit apart and go on and get stuck on one thing. But we know when Mia was having her graduation, most likely Gypsy could have been in labor or there. You just don't know, and I don't know why everybody is getting so hung up. Everybody knows, just like you, that we're not Gypsy supporters, and we just want to get the facts of the case out and educate people. But I don't understand why everybody makes this their life and get all in that drama. This isn't high school. This isn't middle school. It's like, we got to talk about the important stuff instead of getting hung up on the nitty pitty of the gossip. Let me give the tea.
So my opinion,
so I just don't understand.
My opinion is that Gypsy had the baby when they said Gypsy had the baby on December the 28th. Because why would she lie about that? Why would she put that out?
I mean, she can't, because if she does, she's really dumb. Because
people can find out. Yeah,
it's a public record.
Yeah, people can find out when somebody was born. Like, it's not that hard to find out. I know, Sandy. I know that she lies about everything, but something as prominent as her child's birth and publicizing that in People magazine, I don't think that that's a lie.
Exactly. I mean, even a habitual liar, and Gypsy wrote in her book, there's an element of truth and a lot of
girl.
There's still an element. So what we have to keep in mind is, like, if she's that dumb, it's going to come out. Why are we wasting our time? I just feel like she thrives off this stuff. The more that she can create drama, because she is messy and drama, it's like it feeds off. We keep her relevant. We got to stop talking about this case like she's Kim Kardashian or any other Hollywood celebrity. Because if she was a regular smurder that came out of the court system, nobody would pay any attention to her. It was the most exciting thing to see her account hacked, and I thought it would be shut down because of community guidelines, that her requirements of what she has, she should not be on TikTok at all.
Right, but why does bringing that up even matter? She's on it. So there's nothing that we can do to prevent her from being on social media other than what we have done. So continue bringing it up. Oh, she shouldn't do this. She shouldn't be able to do that. We're just beating a dead horse. Repeating the same shit over and over again, and it's old. We've been doing this shit for a year and nothing's changed.
Exactly. We have. We've been on different times on chat, and we've commentary on each other's videos. I don't really make videos on her because I will not give her clout. I share other people that make posts and videos, and that's great information, and I share it out because it's truth needs to be said, and sometimes other people can say it better than you. I support that, but I just will not give her an ounce of my time. Since the whole birth thing has been on, nothing but her shit has been on my feed. I'm I want to see clean talk, or I want to see my friends that are living life, not her bullshit.
So
crazy.
It says that even though Louisiana is a closed state, the person named on the document can request a birth certificate. The current spouse of the person, the mother or father of the person, an adult child of the person. So if Aurora has a child, then her child can request a copy. A brother and sister of Aurora can go and get one. The grandmother or grandfather and a grandchild of the person listed on the record. And in addition to an attorney, can also represent one of the above entitled individuals. So any of the people that I just listed out can hire an attorney to request a record. So while you and I may not be able to get one, if somebody in the family wanted a copy of the birth certificate, there's plenty of people that can go and get a copy, and they can also hire an attorney to get a copy. Like it may not be public to us, but somebody can get the record. So lying about it is stupid.
Right. Eventually it'll come out.
I
Nothing stays in secret for too long.
I think the reason
their family is so messy. I mean, I don't know how many times Chrissy's gotten on live being so drunk, spilling stuff. I mean, she spilled it out on Bree's Live, shared about having Aurora in the car, and she turned it into her dog. Maybe that's why they named it the same name. I don't know.
So I think the reason why Gypsy had the baby on December the 28th was because it was symbolic. It was a symbol. Remember when I said this girl is a planner? She is very meticulous in her planning skills. She knew what she was doing when she opted to have the procedure, the induction, done on the 28th. It was done on the 28th because she wanted to remove the stigma from her prison sentence to create some sort of a happy outcome by her having a baby exactly a year later. Like the way that she fantasizes things in her mind, you have to stop looking at it in the mind of a regular person and look at it in the mind of Gypsy Rose. Get into her mind and her fantasy life that she lives. That's the reason why the baby was born on the 28th. And not to mention, why would the baby not be born on the 28th and then immediately a week later put out the sneak peek to her show? Like it's all done very strategically to create buzz, to create attention, so that people will go and watch the stupid show. Like they're not stupid.
She definitely is losing relevance, and that's why the taxes are going up. But I haven't heard any proof, like if she had an induction or how.
Oh, I'm sure she did because she's high risk.
Like I haven't heard any of that. What did you say?
She's high risk. She has a chromosome disorder. She's high risk. Of course, she had an induction.
Well,
that's what one of her bans were. One of her bans was because the hazardous drug was probably because she was taking Pitocin.
I had Pitocin with my labor before.
I did too.
But I wasn't labeled high risk.
No, I'm not saying that because of the Pitocin she was labeled high risk. I'm saying she is high risk, which is why they induced her labor.
See, I think, we got to be careful because of HIPAA violations and stuff like that. Like, we really, common sense to us, but we really have, at least me.
I think it was planned. I think that it was all planned. And in order for it to be planned that way, it had to have been a scheduled induction.
That makes sense. But people have been saying, like, she had a cesarean or...
I don't know nothing about that. Yeah. I don't really care anything about that. That is irrelevant to me because, like I said, at that point, it's just speculating on shit that is unhelpful.
Exactly.
Yeah,
my
Rebecca,
fan.
she
Like I
did.
haven't heard,
She definitely did that.
but
Exactly, Megan.
She never does anything without a plan,
Right.
for
It's
sure.
it's all very strategically, meticulously planned because Gypsy is a planner. She planned the unaliving of her mother for over 4 years. She's a planner. This girl knows how to use dates to make an impact. Now, I've talked about this before in one of my videos, but Gypsy unalived her mother on June the 9th. June the 9th was the same day that Dee Dee's mother had passed away. Now, in my personal opinion, I think that the reason why Gypsy wanted it to happen on that day was because every single year that went by, Gypsy was not getting attention because Dee Dee went into a depression, upset over her mother. So Gypsy planned out this revenge because she wasn't getting attention on June the 9th because her mother would be grieving. And so for Gypsy, it was like, I'll show you for not giving me attention. I'm going to, on the day that your mother died, because you didn't show me attention on that day. Like, that's how Gypsy thinks.
Agreed. She does a lot of that. Like that girl needed her butt paddled a lot of time for her behavioral issues. But her mom was a great mom. She did a lot of things wrong. Like she brought the system to make their life better. I don't disagree with that. However, I'm sorry, I'm reading comments too.
No, you're okay.
Anyways,
I'm going to go grab another one of those popsicles. They're so good. They're Outshine bars, and you can get them in all different flavors. Did you?
It's like
You
it's
can.
freezing here. I don't.
It's freezing here too.
Be so cold.
It's freezing here too. It's like 30 degrees outside, but I still. This is like my little treat for myself. The popsicle. Sorry, read the comments. I'll be back.
So, but for her, she definitely does plan things out to seek attention. There's something in that girl that she just needs to feel like she's number one. Without a doubt. You can see it in every action she does. Total narcissist.
Yeah, it's all about control. It's about control. It's about changing perception. And it's about controlling the narrative and wanting people to view things in a different light. So now, December the 28th is going to be the day that her daughter was born. People are not going to focus so much on it being the day she was released from prison. You know what I'm saying? Like there's there's a reason why she did that, because the birth is going to overshadow her release date. Yeah. Kimber, what are you doing? And I thought, so remember in the crime scene photos, there was photos of some sort of a liquid, and I believe the liquid was for herpes medication. And somebody said that if she did have herpes, that she would not have been able to vaginally deliver because it could potentially cause her baby to be blind. So that's another reason why it was a possibility that she was induced.
Well, I've known people that have had a vaginal birth with STDs like that, and they just need to know ahead of time to medicate for it, but they still delivered vaginally. So doesn't necessarily mean a C-section.
I know.
I wish we had nurses in. Do we have any nurses in here? Especially labor and delivery. I don't want to misspeak because I don't want to add to all the crap that's going around as misinformation.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. We just need to focus on the facts.
Right. Yeah,
My
somebody
money.
says in a comment, I believe you can have a baby as long as there's no active infection.
Hold on one second.
And maybe they gave her medication before the delivery, if she had that, to combat.
Megan says she has cluster B personality disorder, narcissistic, histrionic, borderline, or antisocial. She checks boxes for each, but her money is on histrionic. I think that she displays not only histrionic, but also narcissistic and antisocial. She has all of them, which is why she's an incredibly dangerous person.
See, I've heard some of those words before, but I don't know if I've ever heard histrionic. Maybe you should break that down, like in a different.
Let me look it up.
Hi.
Hey, girl.
Oh my God! Finally, I've been dying to meet you first and foremost.
How
Nice
are
to meet
you? It's so nice to meet
I
you.
love you so much. Listen, one night I was like, you started at 7 Eastern time, my time. I had 1 hour left at work. I work from home, right? And I had you on my laptop.
Oh, thank you. Was I reading her
And you were
book?
reading it. I'm like, I can't pause her. I call. But I'm so happy. Thank you so much for inviting me up here.
You're
I appreciate you
welcome.
accepting my request. My only concern about the new birth, please just walk with me. I just posted a video. The bed, the footing of the bed ends where her stomach is.
In the photo?
In the photo.
Let me look.
And I was like, and then her hand, her fingers, her nails, they don't look like Gypsy's nails. They look like maybe a smoker nails or some fungus on them or something.
So I think it's just the way the picture is shot. Like hospital, and remember, she's pretty short.
Yeah, but you see the distance from the back?
Yeah, I think that this is a normal hospital bed. Yeah, I think that this is a normal hospital bed. I mean, I have pictures of myself in the hospital, and they look like this too.
No, yeah, the side does, but right there where Ken ends, and her, like where the baby ends, like it looks like, I thought it was like her knees were up to her stomach, and that's where the blanket could be, but it's two different coloring.
No, it looks like she's got a. It looks like she's got a pillow beside her, holding her arm up, and a blanket underneath the baby.
Right, and then you can see the floor after that.
Well, if you zoom,
I was just like, I investigated that stupid thing. I'm like, where's the baby bed?
The baby bed is over here in the corner.
I thought it would be right that side instead, like by the door.
Well, the baby bed doesn't have to stay near the mom while the baby is in the mom's arms.
Right.
So you can push that thing wherever you want, as long as you put the baby back in it whenever you want, like, are done holding her. So, but you can see these feet in the back of the photo. That's the baby bed.
Like, this is a photo after I gave birth. And you see the side right here is the bed for the baby, for my baby boy. That was like in 2002, so.
I mean, I had 4 kids, and that thing is on wheels. We moved it all over.
Yeah.
We have a huge family came in. I wouldn't look at that.
You're right.
I mean, they do Photoshop a lot. Nobody here discredits that.
That was where I was like, somebody walk with me, because I'm like, this picture looks so off.
And I'm sure it was photoshopped a little bit to make her face look a little bit differently, Ken's face look a little bit differently. I'm sure there was some photoshopping going on, but I do believe that this was taken in an actual hospital where she actually gave birth. Like, I'm not refuting that. I think that actually happened.
My question is, and this is my problem. I'm like, because the whole entire pregnancy with her stomach going in and out, and it's not about the stomach or the size. It was just like, you've been pregnant, I've been pregnant, and when we talk about it or how we sit and how uncomfortable we get and things like that, it's just the vibe. You don't feel it.
I think that Gypsy was very afraid to be honest about her disliking being pregnant because she wanted to be pregnant so badly. But in her book, she mentions that her mother didn't like being pregnant, this, that, and the other. I can't remember what chapter it is. If anybody can recall, I can go back into the book and look. But I think that all of those things that she said about how her mother didn't like being pregnant is all things that she is saying about her own pregnancy. I don't think that
she's projecting a lot.
She
said in the book, she does project because you know what we learned is that she talks for Dee Dee, God rest her soul, so much, and we're like, we don't hear Dee Dee's side,
right?
To correct
it. It's all
right,
it's all projecting. Gypsy has a really bad habit of projecting her feelings and putting them onto other people to make herself not look bad and to make the other person look bad. So anytime you hear Gypsy saying, "Oh, well, this person did this or this person said this," it's usually she's speaking about herself. So let me see if I can try to find where she was talking about her mom being pregnant. I can't remember the chapter, but maybe I can search it and
because you read the whole book, and I was like, you know what? I love watching your mini videos, and I support your channel, and
Thank you.
I follow you, and I didn't know you had a YouTube, what's it called, the TikTok channel. So I was like just scrolling by today, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's here.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so sweet. Randomly. I have been going live at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time while reading the book, but the holidays kind of mess everything up because everybody has like different schedules for the holidays and all that kind of different stuff. So I wasn't really like expecting people to join. So I felt like the next book that I wanted to start reading, I would give a little bit of time to kind of figure it all out.
Tania's been great. I love it. Reading it too. So between you two is the only way I've been listening to it. And I am like even more disgusted, if possible, than I was before. It's a disgusting book.
It's just, Viv, you have such a beautiful voice. I can't tune you out.
Oh my gosh. That's so nice. It does. Thank you.
It's not annoying, and it's not like, and you have a beautiful face. By the way, your face looks like my best friend's face, and I love it. I was just like, you just remind me of her. But your voice, your tone is very welcoming. It's like, okay, she has something important to say. Your voice has a respect level.
Thank you.
I do have a question for you.
For me?
Just on your input on something, because I have my own views, but I'd love to know yours. Is the scam that went around with the hacker that was on her account? What do you think about that? Do you think that was a plant?
That was definitely a paid situation. That was definitely a diversion, because think about it. So if she had the baby on December the 28th at 10 something in the morning, if she was induced, she would have had to have been at the hospital at 5 o'clock in the morning, because that's what they do. They have you come 5 o'clock in the morning. So
I was very gung-ho, like she's not preggo. I was very, and I'll admit when I'm wrong, I will, but I'm still not convinced over one bloody picture, let me tell you.
Well,
the fact that it didn't come up in their divorce is weird.
I think that I think that the reason why it's not coming up in the divorce is because Ryan admittedly took that paternity test and said, "Okay, I believe you," and signed the divorce. I think that he did it.
Require a more reputable, like, I can't just go and be like, hey, here's a piece of paper, courts, believe me, because stuff can be altered very easily.
Yeah, I wouldn't personally. I would not have trusted that. I would have wanted to, do it myself. Like, I would have wanted to have a service myself do it rather than trusting Gypsy. But we can't. Ryan.
The courts would have mandated that. That's what I'm not getting.
Well,
not necessarily.
No, you don't think so?
Not if he signed his. Not if he signed saying that I agree that this child is not mine. I'm signing off my parental rights.
But you don't think the court would still be like, okay, no, we still want like a legitimate source?
No.
No, not necessarily, because they feel like the paternity test that they did is not discrediting Ken's opinion or Gypsy's opinion or Ryan's opinion. It's kind of party. If there was a discrepancy or anything like that in a court hearing, then that will allow for further testing. But Ryan,
Becca Scoops just said today in Louisiana, apparently they don't have to. It's not public knowledge the date of birth of the child.
So there's a couple of things. Arkansas Gigi, could you imagine co-parenting with her? Absolutely not. And I have had to co-parent with a narcissist before, so I can already see what's going to happen with Ken and his family before it even happens because I've already been there. Gypsy is going to use this baby to triangulate and manipulate the entire family. And
I'd love to know, like, I asked someone this question, I'd love to know all of your answers as well to this question. Why do you think she's always been so obsessed with having a kid?
I think that Gypsy is very jealous and very insecure about her own illnesses. And I think that because she has all this emotional baggage towards her sickness, she felt like having a child would somehow prove that she was normal.
So you're different. Your answer was extremely different from the answer they gave me. And the answer they gave me was because she wanted to continue the con. And
I think that this is all emotional for Gypsy.
She might be. I mean, I'd love to know I was on a live on New Year's and somebody looked up, okay, she made like $300 or something off of TikTok, but I'd love to know all the PayPal amounts that she got off of this little front that she put on about getting hacked.
I need to catch up with you guys because I have so much to say, but the whole, going back to Ryan absolutely is deeply in love with Gypsy.
He's not in love. He's not in love. He's in a trauma bond.
Exactly. It's just like that whole manipulation level. I'm not saying Ryan is really smart. He's a teacher, stuff like that. But emotionally, he's kind of like on the same level as her previous boyfriends, like Nicholas Godejohn. They see her like she's the most amazing woman. It's like, oh my gosh, let me introduce you some Ryan. I want to introduce you some
literally
really good girls, that would love you. He's funny. He's super sweet, but
I don't know. Like, once he said all the stuff he said about Nick,
he sees her and he knows how she made him feel. you got to understand when you're in a abusive relationship.
She's doing it to a ton of men in prison. I'm sure they all probably felt that way.
Right.
Yeah, there was a time when Gypsy talked about how she got sent to the hole and she didn't understand why she was being sent to the hole. And she claimed that it was because of some internet bullshit. I believe that Gypsy had another man at the visiting and was coddling with somebody.
Said, right, about
Wait, let me finish my sentence, please. So I believe that she had somebody at the jail visiting her and was being inappropriate and got thrown in the hole for something like that, but couldn't be honest about what was happening because she was with Ryan at the time. So she had to lie and make up some bullshit about her getting thrown in the cell for some weird shit that happened on the internet that she didn't even know about, because she was covering up for the fact that she was seeing another man while she was in prison.
Whoa.
Yeah, she had, like, she was playing the field. It was whoever was going to get her at her end result.
Yeah.
That's Jimmy. That's Gyp's MO. You know, but far as Ken, you know, I haven't factually checked, but there's allegedly stuff going on that both of them have lawyered up. I mean, even on the Biles podcast, they sat there and talked about co-parenting. So things are not
her sitting there saying, yeah, I could totally be a single mom. B, you don't even know how to make pasta. You're telling me you can be a single mom? I couldn't. Like, I am a pretty well-rounded adult. I couldn't have a child. I know the what that takes, and I can't do it.
It's a lot of work for sure. Being a parent is a lot of work. Like, it's not.
Mom, and you would know, Viv.
Yeah, it's not for the weak.
Yeah.
At all.
But how she thinks she's just gonna be this great mom.
She lives in Dulu land. You know, normal people know it's hard to be a single parent.
So Gypsy believes that everyone is going to do everything for her and for this baby. She does not feel like she is going to be actually responsible for this child. She believes that everyone is going to cater to her and this baby like they have been all her life, because she lives in a fairy tale in her own mind. She is not a responsible adult because nobody is making her be a responsible adult. So is she going to be a good parent? No, probably not, because they're not going to advocate for her to be a good parent. You cannot force somebody to be responsible for a child if they're not even being responsible for themselves. She admitted on the confessions that that when she left her mom's house, that was the first time she had to ever take care of her own hygiene. At 24 years old, you don't know how to wash your vagina and your ass? Like, for real?
What was your mom doing for you? And like now we know from the book that she's sucking on freaking bottles.
I don't believe that.
Her mom.
I don't believe
her
that.
Her mom was a parent that was a helicopter parent. She enabled
probably because she had a sick kid.
A
sick kid.
I don't think that Dee Dee enabled her. I think it was demanded.
Absolutely.
I think it was demanded by Gypsy, because Gypsy is a narcissist. And she feels entitled to princess treatment.
Behavior. I really think it's learned behavior. I think Dee Dee started out, trying to figure out what was wrong with her child. She knew something wasn't right. And she was going through all these. I mean, the microdeletion detection didn't come out until 2008. She was born, what, 1997?
She's
91.
She's my youngest sister's age, so 92 or 93?
91.
91, something like that.
Somewhere around that, yeah.
So they had to figure out that, this is genetic. I mean, our medical technology is pretty advanced now, but it wasn't always this way. And so there was a lot of medical issues that she had, and they had to figure it out. Like these, for the whole medical scam of claiming that Dee Dee was trying to harm Gypsy is bullshit. She is not on child by proxy kid.
There's a comment in the chat, and I just wanted to say I couldn't agree with this statement more. It just says, I'm sure Dee Dee babied her, but she ultimately was demanding and bratty. You can clearly tell. I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree. And it became a learned behavior because Gypsy knew how to manipulate to get what she wanted. She knew how to work her mouth.
Well, listen.
I mean, I have 4 kids, and I can tell you when I know I'm being manipulated, and they give me the sweet thing, and talk to me this way.
I'm British. My parents are British. They don't.
But I'm like, child, no, you're not doing this. No,
So
if I was like, it had a medically sick kid, I probably would. I mean, my oldest kids say my youngest kid is spoiled. And they're right in the sense because I was really hard on my older kids, and there's 9 years difference. So from the youngest
and she's an only child, which I always say, if you're going to have kids, I don't know, I have no room to speak, but my best friend's an only child, so I can't even really say this, but it is hard for them to be grounded fully when they don't have another sibling, because they're just the apple of their parents' eye. Also, Queen Diva, you are absolutely beautiful. I just wanted to let you know that.
Well, you have to remember too that Gypsy was sick. So not only was she the only child, but she was chronically ill. So there was a lot of attention on her, and her mother doted on her a lot because she was always sick. Her mother probably had this idea in her mind that she didn't know when she would ever lose Gypsy. So there's always this fear in the back of her mind, is today going to be my last day with my daughter? I want to make it the best day ever kind of situation. So in that sort of thinking, she probably did overindulge Gypsy a lot. And yes, that is a learned behavior. However, Gypsy needed a lot of care. So she needed a mother like Dee Dee who was going to be patient and caring and, and willing to give up and willing to give up her entire life for her daughter. That was not going to be Rod and Christy. Like, they didn't want to take care of her.
They've scooped in. I've been finding out over the last few days exactly what happened after that crime scene, was because Trixie Lane has been putting it out. She lives in Missouri. She's been putting out the old screenshots. They went into that house as soon as it was the police let it go, and they ransacked everything. They were going up to neighbors and giving away her belongings.
Whose?
The
Rod and Christy. Yeah.
Rod and Christy went into the home, and which they would have no authority to do.
Well, that's because they didn't care. They didn't care. They didn't care about Gypsy. They didn't care about Gypsy until it was beneficial for them to care about Gypsy. It's always been Gypsy as a second thought for them. I mean, just imagine being a stepmother to a child who they know is chronically ill. Like, they knew she was sick. They knew that she had...
not sick, and he doesn't have anything to do with her.
Right. I mean, they knew that she was chronically ill all the time. They didn't want to have to take care of her. So, of course, they allowed Dee Dee to do whatever Dee Dee wanted to do, because they didn't want the thought of Dee Dee asking them to pitch in and help. So, of course, they didn't ask questions because they didn't want to be responsible for Gypsy for the weekend or for even a couple of days. Because being responsible for Gypsy for a couple of days meant that their kids were going to be neglected, because all the attention would have had to have been on Gypsy because she's sick. So imagine,
It
imagine.
have to be like that. I mean, they could have made it normal. Like it's just all like one big excuse. And I don't know if you guys have watched the new Becca Scoops. If you haven't, I really recommend it.
We love Becca Scoops. She has a great way of.
Thank you for the gifts, everybody. Thank you.
It focuses on Christy a lot more. It focuses on the weird sex stuff a little bit more, and it's kind of shocking to see. There's one scene that stands out very much, and it's like they're asking Christy questions in an interview, and they said something about STA being her mother, and she just said, we haven't talked about that as a family, but she would deserve
for her.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that, and I'm like, why would you say good for her for literally trying to unalive her mother with a gun? Like, that's crazy.
Isn't it? Yes,
I think.
Isn't that like who would I would be like? You're not ever allowed in my home.
I think that again, they came around because it was beneficial for them, and because Gypsy was no longer in the wheelchair. So in their mind, she wasn't a disturbance to their life medically, because whenever she was in the wheelchair, she was a disturbance. You know what I mean? Like,
do you think she was wearing diapers this whole time?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know.
I believe she was.
Because like she was saying about like, I don't know why I said it the way I said it, like as if I'm like trying to like make it like
I don't know
what to say. But like no one does that for their period. I'm sorry. Like no one.
Yeah.
It's
It's actually kind of normal now for people to do it.
Say something to the chat group before it goes too much further. You got to remember the documentaries on Lifetime, TLC, HBO, whatever you see it, is from the perspective of one side. It's not always the facts. They're getting paid to put.
I wouldn't even say they're documentaries.
Somebody in the chat did, and so I just want to say, don't take these gospels to the fact. It's good to watch it because you're going, like when she was on Dr. Phil and when she's on Val's podcast, or when she's, what's that other girl's name from Teen Mom?
Rail or
Caitlin
Yeah. From Teen Mom.
These are all great sources, because when you're a habitual liar, your story is always going to change. And so you can start seeing the truth. Like I watched her before when the court case went, and I had sympathy. I was like, oh my gosh, this poor kid. But then once you find out why the DA did this, and why this, and and the narrative that they're trying to, they're trying to keep their kid out of jail.
That point there. So something that I'm fascinated in this case about, and that I keep going back to, and I'm lame, is the DA in this, and the fact that this plea bargain was in the mix, and the fact that she was given this like she was given this plea deal when Nick wasn't given anything without like life without parole. So that to me is what I am fascinated.
Bring it here, buddy.
I want to know as much as I can know about that, and about like how they got, and I know it because I've heard Trixie, she's a paralegal in that area. I know it, but I want to know more and more because I think it's corrupt.
So Nick was offered several plea deals
of life.
He was offered several plea deals, but he would not. Because
he didn't understand. He didn't get it. Like they should have never. I'm sorry if somebody is developmentally challenged. They should have special advocation in from going into the police station to going through that wasn't even a factor in there.
So that's why all of us are so upset that Nick didn't get a fair trial. He did the crime, but his rights were protected because he was.
I don't think he did.
I think it's all her. He just took the fall because it was something that she coerced him to say and take that story with him. And for him mentally, he thinks that's how he is of a man. He has to honor his word as a man.
Thank you, Queen Diva. I agree. I think they found zero medication in her autopsy report. So that would have been the T word. Because she was very sick. She would have obviously had to have been on medications. Yeah. So the fact that they didn't find anything, I think this wasn't like a one day, I think this was like
I agree, but I
did it.
So everybody needs to kind of take turns. I feel like we're kind of speaking over people and not letting other people talk. So in the chat, there was somebody that said that he should have had an advocate, and he absolutely should have had some sort of advocate right when he was arrested, because he did not seem to be very coherent and understanding everything that was happening, especially when she was reading him his rights. He didn't even seem to understand that. So that should have been like their first clue that he wasn't intellectually all there and needed help. But unfortunately, Nicholas did not advocate for himself either. He could have said, I want an attorney right off the bat. She explained to him, do you understand what this means? You don't have to talk to me if you don't want to. You can ask for an attorney. And he did not ask for an attorney. And that was where he really hurt himself, because he didn't have to speak to them. He could have simply asked for an attorney and let it be.
Went over it with him. If they ask you for an attorney, don't say yes. She went over everything.
Yes, sir. I need a lawyer, sir.
I want a lawyer. And she hates him.
So I don't think that Gypsy
says he gave it up too quick.
I don't think that Gypsy ever liked him. Period. I don't think that she ever liked him. I think that she found the perfect patsy. And when she went onto that dating website, that's exactly what she was looking for. Because previously, wait a second. Just let me finish my thought before you interrupt. So before, she was trying to coerce like criminals. And the criminals wouldn't even do it. They were like, nah, this is crazy. I don't want to have anything to do with you, because she mentioned several times that she was connected to these different people who all had criminal backgrounds. So if she couldn't figure out how to get a criminal to do this act, she figured, okay, well, if they're not going to do it because they know they're going to get a lot of time, I need to find somebody who's not smart enough to understand that this could be their life in prison. So she goes on this dating website and finds the perfect person who doesn't understand how life actually works, because he's intellectually disabled, he's autistic, he's been kind of secluded and never really had any friends or girlfriends. So this person is giving him attention that he's never had before, and it's female attention. So it's like in his mind he hit the jackpot, but also she did too, because she literally picked the perfect person.
Because I know you were reading the book, Viv, and she brings up his ex. She never said any of that. In fact, there are actual messages that have been put out where he's talking to her about the BDSM lifestyle, and like, there's nothing wrong with that if you're consensually in that. However, he's basically like, you do, you know, what you got to do. But there was just a chat comment that oh, you're awesome.
Hey, Pud, can I let you?
The fact that she got her HBO thing before her plea deal. So before Nick's trial, and then when the jurors were going in, they weren't even asked if they had seen. I don't know if it's Mommy, Dad, and Dearest. I don't watch any of that BS, but they weren't even asked if they had seen that. And to me, as a person who watches true crime a lot, I don't understand how that wouldn't be like a reason that you couldn't serve on the jury.
Can I drop you down so I can add somebody else up from the requests?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, cool. I'll bring you back up in a little bit. There's just a lot of people requesting, so I want to give everybody the time and space to speak. Are you there, Beatnik?
Hey, girl.
Hey, how are you? Sorry it took me so long to respond to your request. I don't want to have too many people up here at once, but it doesn't let you I don't think that I can only do 4. I think it's either 5 or 8. So it's 2, 3, 5, and 8. So I think 4 is a good number, and I just would like to keep it at 4. So we're not talking over. And if we can all, like, if somebody else is talking, just mute your mic so that they can have the floor, and then let's be courteous and just wait until they're done and move on to the next person. Okay, what did you have to say?
Oh, I was just coming up to see what's happening.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of research, watching the prison confessions, and I am just like blown away by all the things that you find out when you go back and you watch all this stuff. Because I mean, it's just unbelievable. Like, I was watching the part where she talks about her grandfather and all of that, and she says that it happens at 9 years old, and that her mother wasn't there, and that she told her mother a year later about what happened with her and her grandfather. But that's different than what the book says, right?
It is different than what the book says. It is different than what the book says. So I think there's a way that I can go into the PDF to search, but if I'm not mistaken, she basically says that she was like 9 years old, and he carried her like he was carrying a bride over, over the threshold or whatever, into a room with the grandmother, into the closet, and that he did it in the closet while the grandmother was like passed out on the couch.
Yeah, and to add to that, Viv, in the prison confessions, or to a place she said she was 4 years old too, to top it off.
So there's a lot of different ages. Yeah. For somebody to not know how old they were, she sure does reference different ages a lot. She references that she got her period at age 13, and that she started getting interested in boys when she was 16. Like, she references age quite a bit for her to claim that she never knew her age. But I'm going to try to search for that section in the book where you're talking about, so we can be more specific on like what she says. If somebody has anything else they want to add. Where did I find it?
No, I agree with everything you had to say, for sure.
Okay.
And somebody in the chat said that's how she gets away with discrepancies. She says she doesn't know her age.
Well, I think it's hard to say that I didn't know my age, but then reference all these different ages. And I also thought that it was incredibly strange that she was mentioning him as Daddy Claude. For me, that's really like gross and inappropriate, because if this person was somebody who violated you in such a way, why would you reference them years later as daddy? Like, it just seems twisted to me. In my personal opinion, I think Gypsy started having sexual fantasies about people in her family at a really early age, and she started thinking about all of these people in sexual ways. And this reference in the book that she's talking about is one of her fantasies that she had about her grandfather. That's what I think, in my opinion.
She absolutely did that. She even sent inappropriate sexual pictures to her dad. She clearly has daddy issues because he wasn't a part of her life, you know. And when you don't have a dad in your life, you're trying to replace that love in other men. She was exploring clearly, like in all levels, to figure out how to get that love. And in her demented mind led to her demise. I mean, it's going to be the fall of her because she still lives in Dulu land. She doesn't think like we do. She doesn't know what real love is. She doesn't know what true parenting is. And the thing we talked about earlier, like, you know, do we think the baby is going to get taken away, or is I think that Gypsy has been enabled so much, and people are going to pick up the slack for her to keep this baby safe. I think she's got a good network.
I don't think so.
No,
I don't.
You don't think like Rod and Christy?
No,
or anybody
I
else
absolutely do not think that they are going to enable her to be a bad parent. She's already not living in Christy's home. Like, her and Ken have a place of their own. They have had a place of their own since September. People don't want to believe me because I don't live in the bayou, but they've had a place of their own since September. They have been living together since then. And I don't think that Christy and Rod are going to be interested in having a lot to do with Gypsy taking care of this baby if they keep having to run to her house to help her. Like, they're not going to do that. And Ken, right now, he's not working because you know what is going to happen? Ken is going to be the one 24/7 taking care of this baby, which is going to lead to resentment. Then Ken is going to want to leave, and Ken is going to want to take the baby because he knows that Gypsy can't take care of the baby. That's what's going to happen. Those are the timeline in which it's going to happen. I don't know, but it's going to happen.
I think Ken will step up as a parent, because if this is his child and he doesn't do any further DNA testing and he accepts it, I think he will be the stability in the child's life. Now, I didn't realize that because her parole doesn't allow them to live together. She said it on social media, like,
so
until she's off, she has to live with either Ryan or her parents.
Chrissy, what parole doesn't know is not going to hurt her. Like, I don't know how much clearer I can be about that, but just because parole says you can't live there doesn't mean that that's not what she's going to do. So there is a way to get around the entire parole system as far as living arrangements. So let me break it down really quickly. When I was on probation, my probation officer came to my house once a month. They notified me when they were coming so that I knew when they were coming. Or I could make an appointment with them, like because I was working or whatever. So I'd be like, well, I'm usually home after 4 o'clock, whatever. But if I wasn't living there, all I had to do is show up and look as if I'm living in the home, and boom, problem solved, and they leave. Like, they're not actively with binoculars making sure that she's living in Christy and Rod's house.
That's true. I mean, I don't look good in orange, and so I don't do anything illegal as much as I can. You know what I mean? So
Gypsy, her entire life is illegal.
How can I connive the system? So
yeah,
I'm not saying that she's not doing that stuff, but I don't know. I'm still trying to give the girl a benefit of a doubt.
Don't give her any benefits of any doubts. Don't give her any benefits.
At the book signing, do you think that at the book signing, everyone was like, "Where is Ken?" Do you think that Ken was at home with the baby?
No. Mm-mm. I don't think that the baby was born until they said that the baby was born.
So the baby was born the day the hacker hacked her account.
It was the very next day. So
the hacker hacked her account on the 28th.
So she was probably at home getting ready to go to the hospital, because if she was induced, she would have had to have been at the hospital at 5 a.m.
Her account got hacked like at 1:30 in the morning. So she might have been up getting ready and saw, I'll click for my blue check mark. Do you think
she was responding to all this social media business after she had given birth for the first time?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. If she was in labor at 5 o'clock in the morning and had the baby by 10, then all of this happened after the baby was born. And you know that babies sleep. So
my baby didn't. Well, when you're in the hospital, they take it away from you.
Yeah, they take it away.
So you can rest.
They do.
My baby was brought back to me constantly so they could get me breastfeeding.
So she's probably not breastfeeding because she takes a lot of medications.
The last thing I was thinking about was getting on social media.
Right, but we're not Gypsy. We're not Gypsy. Gypsy is like the most abnormalist fucking person in the planet. And we do not think like Gypsy. Gypsy thinks on, like, she has a level of thinking that we can't even comprehend, because we're normal people and she's not.
Exactly. I agree. It seems very convenient.
Yes, I agree. It seems very convenient. I think it was a distraction, and I think it was done that way for a reason, because they wanted to distract from what was actually going on to something else and get the attention off of her potentially being in labor onto something else. So therefore the account was hacked. Like, I say it a lot. Gypsy is a meticulous planner. And she does everything that she does for a reason.
Very into symbolic things.
Yes.
Into symbolism.
And the symbolism of the day of her release is very significant to her. So she did not give birth before Christmas. She gave birth when she said she gave birth.
Well, it was a planned C-section,
Probably.
Or
an induction and a vaginal birth, but it was definitely a planned situation.
She's definitely high risk. I mean, there was in different videos of her, people being worried about the amount of weight that she was putting on. They felt like she was very underweight, malnourished. They were worried about the microdeletion. But, okay, her due date was January 22nd. She had her in December, and she measured at 36 weeks, but that's 6-pound baby. That's still full term. Pretty small.
No, not really. My daughter was 6 pounds 9 ounces when she was born, and she was born full term. She was induced a week early because her due date was literally but my son's birthday is Christmas Day, and then her due date was 2 years later, exactly 2 days before Christmas. So I planned not to have two Christmas babies. So I was induced a week before, and she was 6 pounds 9 ounces, and my son was like 7 pounds 2 ounces, and he was right on target. So 6 pounds is not small.
No, it isn't. It's a smaller size in a full term baby because I've seen them like 6, 7, 8. That's not where I was trying to go with it. But I believe her date of conception was earlier than what she was led on. So there is the stuff, but there also still is concern, like of her pregnancy. She did not want to put on weight. She was very self-conscious, very wanting to look like a model in her pregnancy, and just in the rumor mill of like concerns, like, is she eating enough? Is she eating healthy enough? That kind of stuff.
Well, she probably
Why
wasn't.
She keep putting a fake baby bump if she wanted to look like a nice pregnant model. Why she keep putting a fake baby bump all this time?
Right. If it wasn't really like, if she wasn't really pregnant. I believe she was definitely pregnant. Do I think that it's possible that the due date was a little bit okay? So do I believe that she conceived possibly earlier than what she has led everyone to believe? Absolutely. Gypsy is a known pathological liar. So it is definitely highly probable that she did get pregnant the very first time that her and Ken met up, which was at the beginning of April, end of March. That was literally the very first time that they showed us on Lifetime that they were together, claiming they were just friends. Remember, she went on Natasha's live and said that she was on birth control, but they were hanging out together. I know that of course they weren't just friends, they were doing things together, and that was probably the very first time. And Gypsy probably planned it that way because she is a planner, and she knew that if she could get Ken back together with her, that she could coerce him into getting pregnant, and that's exactly what she did. She is going to get pregnant again within the next 3 months. I guarantee you there's going to be another baby, a second baby. She's going to try to get pregnant again. Why? Because she feels like if she has more than one, Ken is definitely going to stay. With one, he can up and leave, but with two, it's a little bit questionable.
I don't know why she thinks out of nowhere. I don't know. She lives in her own head. She doesn't realize this world, nobody cares if you have 10 kids with somebody. You're going to leave.
Right.
She drives me crazy with her thinking about this baby and Ken. And
Yeah.
something about Ken, I think because he doesn't want her.
She wants him. So yes. Because narcissists want what they can't have. They feed off of things that they can't have, which is the reason why if we did not give her attention, it would infuriate her so badly that she would literally show herself, because she would want that and crave that attention again, that she would essentially show everyone who she truly is.
I agree with that. And not only that, but I think that's what was the big attraction with Ken. Nobody's ever dumped Gypsy Rose. He dumped her in prison, and she was like, oh my gosh, she's the one that got away. And I think that he's attractive in the sense for her that it was like, oh my gosh, I got to keep that, because who else would want me? I just unalived my mom,
Yeah. And because if you look at Ken, he in my opinion, he's not very attractive, but for her previous partners, he is exactly attractive. He's the best that she's going to ever be able to get.
what's really weird is he is almost a spitting image of her father, like Ryan was of her mother. Weird.
It's weird when Ryan was with her. He did look like Dee Dee, God rest her soul, but as soon as she left him, he's not looking like that anymore for some reason. It's gone.
Okay, so I was going to make a video about this, and I have to bring it up, but I want to just touch on it very briefly. So I've been in several narcissistic relationships, and when I was in those relationships, my health, my appearance, my self-esteem really took a hit. Why? Because I was so focused on doing what was necessary to please the narcissist that I wasn't taking care of myself. That's what's going on with Ken right now. He's not taking care of.
And look at Bree.
Yes, that I was literally going to do a video about all of them and how each one of their appearance changed drastically by their relationship with Gypsy, because she is so needy and so emotionally draining to the people that are in her lives that they stop taking care of themselves and are solely focused on her.
Yep. Ken gained weight. Look at how much weight Bree has gained.
Yeah.
She looked nothing like what she looks like today before she met Gypsy.
Yeah, and if you look at Dee Dee, if you look at pictures of Dee Dee right before they moved from Louisiana to Missouri, Dee Dee still looked relatively healthy. She looked good. She looked radiant. She looked like she was still taking care of herself. Like she had hope for herself. But when she moved to Missouri, her health started to decline seriously. And they moved when I believe Gypsy was 15 years old. So imagine from 15 to 23, that was 8 years of Dee Dee's health slowly declining, her appearance declining, gaining more weight, shaving her head. Like she just totally gave up on her.
For you. I have a serious question for you, and I hope you can help me out with this because it's been sitting in my brain and it's just killing me. I'm sorry if I said the wrong word here.
No, you're fine.
TikTok is sensitive as a Karen. But so everybody discusses the Pepsi bottles all over Gypsy's house. And then Gypsy talks about the Roundup. Everybody talks about the Roundup. Is there a possibility, because Dee Dee was swelling up. I was doing this with Chat GPT, and I was going back and forth like it's a real person talking to me because I had to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so if somebody is using, odorless, tasteless stuff in somebody's drinks, or because remember, they found that little blue cups with the straw.
Yeah.
Is there a possibility that she's given her mom things that will make her organs fail slowly? Because the lady's organs were really bad.
It's possible.
She was swelling up.
It is
she
possible.
Was becoming a balloon. So I was going to ask you, what do you think? Because that's a lot of Pepsis, and then there's this lady that I watched an interrogation for, where she did actually use antifreeze to hurt her son because he was not just autistic, he was handicapped, so she had to take care of him, and he was too much to take care of, so he was gone, and she put it in his Coke. Her husband was lazy and didn't want to work, didn't want to do anything, he was a slob, so she said, I'm sick of it, so she took care of him with the Coke because he likes to drink Coke. So she put it in the Coke, and then he was gone. Then her oldest daughter was just finished college, and she was up all night, sleep all day, and she was sick of it. She don't want to find a job. So she was slowly doing the same thing with the Coke product by putting antifreeze in it. But her daughter was becoming so sick, she had to take her to the hospital.
So Brokenhearted just said that it would have shown up in the blood work if she had been.
Chat GPT said not if it's not requested.
So that would have been something that would have had to have been requested like individually. Yeah, and they probably would not have known to look for something like that. It's quite possible. I do know that whenever Gypsy was on the stand, she admitted that she felt like poison would take too long. But then she
Yes.
also admitted in the confessions that she could have waited for her mother to die naturally, but she didn't know how long that would be, that she could live until 70 or something like that, which makes me think that there is a high probability that that something that Gypsy knew that there was something going on with her health declining, but knew that because there was nobody else around, that she was going to be kind of handcuffed to taking care of her mom until she ended up passing naturally. And Gypsy didn't want to take care of her until she passed naturally, which is why she came up with Plan B. I don't think that Plan B really had anything to do with her getting away from her mother because of ABUSE or any or really wanting to be with Nicholas. I think that she desperately just wanted to get away from her mother and start a new life without her mom, not having to take care of her mom. I think that she saw this ending as a new beginning for her as an individual rather than as a team, rather than as a pair, because for so long they had been lumped together as a pair rather than her being an individual. So because she mentions that in the book, so for me
Yes.
that stood out as a way for her to seek her own individuality, because she did not feel like she was an individual while she was in the care of her mother. Even though she was getting older, they still looked at them as a pair. Everywhere she went, they were looking at them as a pair.
I agree. You dead on. Dead on. That's why I was like, I would love to talk to you one on one because there's so. I'm chatting with GPT.
Well, now you know when I go live, so you can come on and chat. Chrissy, can I drop you down so I can add somebody else? Okay, I'm gonna disconnect you so I can add somebody else so we can keep the conversation going.
I think that a lot of people relate to this story and they're so connected to it because there's so many people who have had a mother like Dee Dee, that's overbearing, that has mental issues, that has history of abuse. And that's why people connected with Gypsy so much. I mean, I know that's why I, felt sorry for her. I was totally Team Gypsy when I saw the movie.
Yeah. I was too. I was fooled into believing that she was an actual victim. And I guess the reason why I felt connected was because the way that I viewed it was that she had a loving parent and I did not. So there was this idea that how could she do this to a parent that loved her so much, when I had a mother who definitely did not show me any sort of emotional comfort my entire life. And I never even once thought about unaliving her. So for me, it didn't seem. So for me, it didn't seem natural to have this loving, caring, doting mother who gave you everything that you had and everything that you wanted, to commit such a heinous crime. And then me, who didn't have any of that, never once thought about that. So I couldn't connect them in my mind mentally. And then when I started doing research, I was like, wow, she's been lying the whole time. And then I started to see the connections and the behavior patterns of hers and of my mom. And when I connected the two, I was like, now I understand. She's a narcissist and she was more than likely abusing her own mom. So that's because that's how I was able to like circle it all back.
Viv, first and foremost, God love you. You are such a sweetheart, and I'm sorry that you had that type of relationship, but it brought you to become a better mom. I saw how you are with your daughter when you were live, and you are such a sweet soul. Like, you can see it, you can hear it through your tone. So I'm really sorry that you felt
Thank you.
had to go through that. That's first and foremost. Second, I agree with you. What I thought about it is, I'm a mom. I have a 25 and a 22-year-old, right?
You don't look old enough.
I spoil them, and I have kidney problems. So when I was sick, I had an IV pick in my arm, and I'm at home. My daughter fell sick. Guess what? I forgot about myself. I was attending to girl who had cold.
Yeah.
Like, so I thought of her. I thought of Dee Dee as like, you know what? I'm a mom. This is what I do. I can imagine that, here I am. I'm neglecting my health to take care of my daughter because she was sick. Yeah. And it's just a cold. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have bad kidneys. I be picking my arm, like, and I'm holding her, caressing her, making sure, she's eating and drinking, whatever. So my thought is, I'm a mom. I spoil my kids. I care for my kids. And I can imagine if, God forbid, I had a sick child, like my son had really weird, there was no diagnosis for it, a really weird health condition when he was born. Like, his skull was like cracking, where some weird oozing stuff coming out. So I had a rough time with my son. So everything I did was, I went from hospital to hospital to hospital to hospital, from doctor to doctor to doctor. I called overseas. I called every country we have family in, just to get a remedy to see how to help this kid. So yeah, what does that mean? I have Munchausen by proxy because I took my kid everywhere to try to figure out what is wrong with this kid? No. So I took it like that. Like, you compared it to your mom. I compared it to myself. Like, she's actually a good mom. She did everything in her power to take care of this one. But this one, because, first she faked it. I'm sure she did, like you said it, she demanded things from her mom. She wanted to stay in the wheelchair. That June 8th video that's circling around with Dee Dee wearing the blue, that was the day where, after they got home, where Gypsy was like snapped.
Yeah. I think something happened. Let me just say, you do not look old enough to have a 25-year-old. Like, what? Not at all. And I love your hair color. It's probably not natural, is it? No. It's a good color. It looks really good on you. So I saw the video of Dee Dee and Gypsy going around, and even the day and how I thought about it when I saw that video was, Gypsy knew her plan and what was going to happen the very next day. And even knowing her plan, she still insisted that her mother push her around in that fucking wheelchair. Like, imagine the selfishness that you have, the level of selfishness that you have to know that you're going to have somebody unalive your mother the very next day, yet you're still being pushed around in the wheelchair by that mother that you're going to have unalived. Like, she has absolutely no sympathy, no remorse, no love, no compassion for her mother at all.
I think she's a psychopath, and I think Dee Dee realized it at a certain point.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what year she realized it, but I think she definitely realized it.
Beatnik, it's funny that you say that, because I have been saying for a while that I think that Dee Dee knew that Gypsy was having these sexual thoughts in regards to family members, possibly even her. And CSCA is like a real thing, child on child SA. It's a real thing. So I believe that the reason why Dee Dee kept Gypsy away from even other children was because she was afraid that Gypsy might do something to them sexually and like really cause some issues. I think that she knew that there was something seriously wrong with Gypsy at probably 3 years old. At 3 years old, she had to have known. Remember that video where they showed Gypsy and she just like falls back. She just like
Yes.
stares off and then just falls back.
Yes.
Like, I've never seen a kid do something like that. Like, the way that her eyes were in that video, it just, for me, it screamed like she knew that she could do that and get attention. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like, she was doing it for attention.
Yes. Right on.
Oh yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
That's another reason why I relate to this story.
I'm sorry?
It's another reason why I relate to the story, because like my mother is not perfect, and I think she was kind of like a Dee Dee, you know. I mean, she definitely doesn't deserve to be killed, and I love her deeply, and I think that my brother is kind of, you know, has the same kind of issues, and I think we're both scared of him, and I think that Dee Dee was scared of Gypsy. But she still loved him. You don't stop loving someone.
You don't.
It's your child.
It's your child, even though they might have, you know, they might be psychotic and psychopath or a sociopath or whatever she is. You don't stop loving them because that's your child. You know?
I think that she was afraid that if she unleashed her into the world, that she would create chaos wherever she went and potentially harm a lot of people. And I think that she understood that keeping her at home, she was the only person who would be hurt by her, and took that risk for essentially saving everyone else
Right.
that she came into contact with. Let me mention one other thing really quick. So I'm on YouTube live as well, and somebody mentioned that the baby has a 50% chance of having the chromosome disorder that Gypsy has. I watched a video on TikTok the other day, and it was talking about how when things go wrong in pregnancy, and like, say if I had a chromosome disorder or cerebral palsy or Down syndrome or whatever, 99.9% of the time it's because of the male DNA. So I know Gypsy proclaims that her mother was not tested for the chromosome deletion, but her medical records show that her mother was actually tested and didn't have it. So my theory is, after I heard that, was that Rod was the one who was carrying the chromosome deletion. And while Gypsy may have that, 50% chance, I think that she was hoping that the child would come out healthy. But in my opinion, with the child coming out healthy, she's going to have a lot of resentment and jealousy and anger towards that baby for being healthy when she was not healthy. You know what I mean?
Have you seen that weird account that Starlight Bright or whatever?
Mm-mm.
That girl that's posting the videos of the baby?
No.
Oh my gosh. You don't know about this account?
No.
If they're making fun of the baby, I don't like that.
No, there's an account on TikTok that's called Starlet Bright. And it's just a baby that looks very similar to Gypsy's baby. From what we know so far, she has very dark hair.
You said
Account, right?
Starlet?
No, it's an account from about 2 months ago.
Yeah.
He started posting. And her voice sounds like Gypsy's voice.
The lady who's
playing with the baby.
You talking about this?
Yeah.
Yeah, the lady who talks to her baby, she sounds
she
like
talks to her baby, and she sounds like
the baby sound though. We all be like, "Oh my goodness!"
Yeah, I know, it's really creepy though, because it does sound like Gypsy.
So if you're anything like me and you got your fingernails done as a first-time mom, and
not really.
push this red button, this product down
Unless
there
she,
in the
When she talks to the baby, it sounds just like Gypsy.
not unless she's opened up a new voice,
shopping
Well, they
which
did say we don't know her real voice.
which is
remember?
not impossible
Gypsy
because
has different voices. Have
because
you
she does
heard
have
her
different
talk Cajun?
voices.
I mean, she becomes like a Cajun mama.
Yeah,
whenever
she
she's
could.
talking to Christy.
She could definitely do like voiceover acting with all her different
Don't
voices
give
she
her that
has.
idea.
She has every.
It's for you.
Honey, this
I
girl is
have
an
mine
actress.
on the way in the
I don't think that sounds like Gypsy.
No, I don't either.
I don't think that sounds like her at all.
It's creepy because it seems like there's a person that is wanting to like make you believe that she's Gypsy.
Bah humbug, what is code switching?
What's a code switching?
I've never heard of that, but we do know that she shapeshifts. We know that. Like we know she shapeshifts.
Yes, I agree.
What do you mean she said on a live that she had Aurora? If she had the baby on the 28th, she would not have left the hospital until maybe New Year's or the 31st. Most of the time, if you are a regular woman like me with no health issues and you have the baby on the 28th at 10 in the morning, they're going to try to get you out of there at least by the 30th or the 31st. Unless you have to stay because you've had complications or the baby has to go in the NICU, she would have been out by the 31st. She would not have left any time before the 30th.
I agree.
Regulations for newborns
change. They do change because when I gave birth, I stayed there for 2 days and that's it. You gotta get out of here.
Yeah, okay, so Bah Humbug says code switching is when you talk differently depending on who you're talking to. I didn't know that's what it was called. Awesome. Okay, I code switch.
Gypsy definitely does that.
I put on like my professional voice when I have to. So is that code switching? Is that
codes?
Do you put on an accent though?
It's not an accent. It's more along the lines of just like a more professional tone.
Mm-hmm. No, that's
like,
not an accent.
Okay, so it's an accent. It's not
Gypsy,
like.
Didn't you see Gypsy talk Cajun?
Oh yeah, I did. I heard her
Gypsy?
talk Cajun. I heard her talk
Mirrors, yes.
yeah, like a couple of different accents she had. Oh, I'm sorry, Pug Lady. I didn't see you. We've got a lot of people in the requests. Okay. So let me let up Brokenhearted real quick because I think she might have some things that she wants to say in regards to the hospital stuff. Okay. I'm pretty sure.
Hey.
I'll let you up in a minute, Pug.
Hospital really quick. So if she had a regular delivery, since my specialty is OB, regular delivery is VJJ. Y'all, we push them out now anywhere from 12 to 15 hours after delivery.
Wow.
So if she came in for a normal inducement with no complications, so at 5 o'clock in the morning, you were out by 6 p.m. that afternoon.
That's way too soon.
I know. It used to be 2 to 3 days. If the baby did not have to go to the NICU or the PICU.
That's way too soon.
I know, but that's
11 hours? Oh my God.
It's basically averaging 12 hours. Now, if there's any
That's
complications,
crazy.
I know. If there's any complications with the baby gets to stay, but the mother gets to leave. Now, the mother can request to stay an additional 12 hours if the room is available. Okay? You can ask to stay, but it's also going to be charged medically.
So
you have to stay. Is it medically necessary for you to stay with your child?
So,
yes, it can be done, but we are now doing the fast pace or doing the fast lane now or fast trauma to have you out the door. Now it's 24 to 32 hours for a C-section without complications. So we do ask you to get up, walk around, move around. Please don't be sitting around.
so my question is if she had an epidural, which I'm pretty sure she would have, she would not have been able to get up and move around until at least 8 hours after the delivery with the epidural.
No, you're up moving around after recovery. Recovery is
I
45
didn't-
minutes.
From an epidural?
Yeah.
No.
Because the epidural is pushed out of your system. We flush it out. So,
That's crazy. That's not how it was whenever I gave birth. Let me say this really quickly. When my son's baby mama went to the hospital, she delivered on June the 9th, oddly. Sorry. June the 9th. I'm so sorry.
Okay, everybody.
I'm sorry.
In the Father, the Son, Holy Spirit.
She delivered on June the 9th, and she didn't leave until the 11th.
Okay,
So
back in the day, those were
no, that was
2
just
days.
this last year.
Last year? Okay, now it's gonna come down to, so that's technically 24 hours. The day she went in, the next day is 12 or 24, then the next is 48. So she might have had high blood pressure, eclampsia. She could have had a number of things that made
That's
her
crazy.
stay in. Okay, so, and then the baby. Did the baby have?
Oh yeah, he had a
other
little
developed parts?
extra,
Did
like
she have?
he had an extra finger that had to get removed.
Okay, so she stayed with him, which allowed her to stay. So there were things going on.
It wasn't actually like a finger, but it was extra skin on the outside that could have been, like been said it was an extra finger, but it wasn't. It was extra skin.
A benign tumor.
Yeah, and so
which
that
is an
had to
extra
get
growth.
removed. And he had to get circumcised. So
Okay,
Normal
what do you all think about the way her stomach has been portrayed in photographs throughout her pregnancy?
Oh, the one moment it's there, the next minute it isn't. I think it just comes
It's
down
not about carrying small, because I carried small. I carried very small, and I lost weight during my pregnancy. But it's not about carrying small. It's about getting small, then big, then small, then big. So what is that all about?
I think that it was done on purpose to get people to get people to talk. It's attention. It's attention-seeking behavior.
Like, these people are so they are involved in some nefarious shit. They are involved in lying about a pregnancy and fake belly bumps. I mean, this is crazy.
Well, Gypsy is a narcissist that feeds off of attention, whether it's positive or negative. She feeds off of attention. Attention is money. Attention is currency. So the more attention,
and Rod and Christy,
they don't care.
They're all implicated in all of these lies.
They've already told us that they don't have morals, they don't have values, they don't have integrity. So like, it shouldn't be a shock that they would do something like this to garner more attention.
Yeah, they're like idiots then.
We're the idiots, yes, because we're like
but because
we're not idiots.
But because we give into it,
we are spectating
this is what they normally do, and we're like, and here I am investigating her stomach all the time.
Yeah, and that's what they want. They want you to be looking, searching, questioning things, because the more you question things, the more you're talking about it, the more you're talking about it, the more money they're making.
Exactly.
It's all by design.
You're right.
I will agree that her body has totally transformed from last December to now. She looks better than ever facial wise.
Well, she has more
so
reason
skinny,
to.
Totally different. Excuse me?
She has more reason to look better now. I mean, when you're in jail, nobody's looking at you. You're in jail. I mean, you're literally in prison, so nobody gives a shit what you look like. Now she's got cameras on her, so of course she's going to care about her appearance a little bit more and take, a little bit better care of herself because she wants to look good for the people that are taking her pictures. Like, it's not that difficult to grasp.
Yeah, but I thought when she first got out with her long dark hair, she looked pretty good. But then when she got with Ryan, she looked a little chunky. And then towards April, she looked not so good. And then towards this
dark hair.
Yeah. And then towards this very end, she got very thin. I mean,
I don't think that she got thin. I think that her face has probably lost a lot of that baby weight because she's probably not drinking as many sodas.
I would think so as well.
I mean, she's addicted to Pepsi, and I will say, because I am addicted to Pepsi as well, that when I drink a lot of it, my face swells up. I have a lot of like roundness in my face. So I'm pretty sure that as her pregnancy has progressed on, she decided, hey, I better stop drinking so much Pepsi. So her face slimmed down a little bit. She's probably gua shaing. I mean, like she's a narcissist.
She doesn't have the posture of a pregnant woman ever that I've seen. So. That's the only problem for me, is that I've never witnessed her have any kind of posturing and movements of a pregnant woman ever.
Correct. The only other thing I was going to elaborate on is the bands that she had on
her
wrist.
I think a lot of people were questioning about that.
Okay. 2 white bands. One is an identification for her, her social, her name, and a UPC code for the medication list. So all they have to do is zap it and they can put the meds on it. Every time a med comes in, they got to zap it and it registers. And then, of course, there's an ID bracelet for her and the mama. So anytime the baby comes in, they click it so the baby and her match every time it comes in. And also, the baby can't be leaving the floor with anybody but the parent and or staff, because it will lock down that floor. If it tries to go out the door, it locks. It cannot. It has to be with the parent. It cannot be with anybody else. If you do not have a bracelet on, it will not open those doors. Okay? The yellow one is a risk fall. Everybody gets a risk fall because you just came out of surgery.
Yeah.
Regardless, you get a risk fall. The red one is because you were given medication or you had a blood transfusion or you're allergic to something. So yellow, risk fall. Red, allergic and or blood transfusion.
That's true.
Everybody, you get a blue because you had hazardous medications put into your system.
Right. And I was saying, couldn't that have been the Pitocin to induce the labor?
She probably had it induced. So
right. And so for that, she would have been given Pitocin, which is a hazardous drug.
Correct. And the epidural.
Yeah.
So those 2 medications and any other medications, that's where she got the blue. If she was allergic to latex or anything else, it would have been in green. If she would have had another allergic reaction, it would have been in pink. It is all on my file or on my page. Okay. So a picture of her and then the bands. There's 2 more bands. You're welcome. I've been doing this for 35 years, y'all. So I'm amazed that half of the nurses are like, I don't know what the blue stands for. Y'all, it's hazard drugs, hazardous drugs.
So
Y'all should know this. They're
let me-
universal tabs.
I want to read a comment from YouTube. Amelia writes, Gypsy is a sick person and she's in denial. And I absolutely agree with that. I think that she continues to try to push this narrative that she's a healthy person because she has tried to literally, when she unalived her mother, she thought that that entire life was going to die with it. She thought that the sickness was going to go, that her mother was going to go, that she was going to gain independence and all this other stuff. She didn't think that she was going to have to relive her illness like she has. Therefore, if she continues to deny that it's her mother forced all this on her, then then it's like it never existed. You know what I mean? And her attorneys damn sure knew that Gypsy was sick. They knew that her mother did not have Munchausen by proxy. They knew that Gypsy had a shit ton of medical issues because her attorney would have had a doctor look at those records in order to come up with some sort of a defense that they could use together. And he said clearly, we had no defense. We had no defense. She was gonna on death row. Like that was what the options were. But it doesn't matter what is true. It matters what people will believe. So all they needed was that picture of the medicine cabinet, one doctor that said Munchausen by proxy, and bam, she's sick. Her mother was sick and forcing her to be sick. Like
Gypsy was lucky as hell.
She got really lucky with the attorney that she had. Mike Stanfield did an excellent job for her as a public defender. Like, he did a remarkable job.
Yeah, but he's also crossing the line right now with being her manager.
Yeah, it's definitely, well, like I said, everybody's morals, integrity, it's all gone. It's all corrupt at this point. They're all corrupt at this point.
She's not smart enough to just take that luck and go hide away.
Right.
She's going to create her own demise by not being able to do that.
It's because she's so desperate to be and pretend like she's some sort of a celebrity because it feeds her narcissism. That's why.
Yeah, and I think this last book is her nail in her coffin because it definitely perjured herself.
Yes.
Just for that comment.
Thank you.
Yes. And the lawyer should have advised her, don't do this book, don't do this book.
I think Melissa Moore has a plan to capitalize on her in a different way and just capitalize on her exposing her instead of supporting her.
Beatnik, I have also talked about this. I believe that what's happening right now is after all of this year that has gone by, Lifetime has been behind her, Melissa Moore has been behind her. I think that after everything that has happened and everything that Gypsy has said to contradict herself, the book, everything, I believe that Melissa Moore is silently sabotaging her. I think that she knows that she is going to make so much more money off of her demise than she ever did promoting her as a victim. Like, she's getting ready to cash in on the downfall. And she is going to lead the way for this downfall.
Mm-hmm. I think Gypsy totally miscalculated what Melissa Moore is capable of.
Oh, yeah,
Melissa
for sure.
Moore is the daughter of a serial killer.
Yeah, and so you can't upset her. So she's retaliating.
Oh, yeah.
Remember what she said, that when she got married to Ryan, she was really disappointed.
Yes.
So hard. She's not going to forget that.
Because she said she had a plan. She said, I had a plan for when Gypsy got out, and her marrying Ryan ruined my plan. She said it. I mean, it wasn't like she was hiding it.
There. So I think she was retaliating a little bit at a time.
Now, I could see Christy stating that, but
No, Melissa did.
It was Melissa.
said it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, oh my
Right in front of
goodness,
Ryan. Ryan was sitting right here, and some girl was sitting right here.
They
and
were
she was
doing
like,
they were doing some interview. It was Ryan, Melissa, and some other lady. They were on a stage right before Gypsy got out. Gypsy hadn't got out of prison yet.
yes.
Y'all, we just need to go to cut off and just have a little powwow with them and just like, well, we need to do a book and we need to do it right.
Girl, no.
Let's go.
You waste your breath and your nails will get dirty, and you don't want that filth on your
No,
nails.
no, I don't want that. But, you know, it'd be one heck of a book if we all wrote it and did it right.
I think.
Trying so hard, and even with this parole business, she has violated so much.
Mm-hmm.
I've reported it. I've emailed, and there's
Boo Bestie's done it.
night
She's gotten so
combo
much.
people.
Oh yeah. Night combos. I follow them.
They spoke. They had recorded everything. They have
Oh,
the cell phone of their the case manager of their parole officers and things like that. So it's just they tried everything.
Brokenhearted. Can I drop you back down so that I can add Pug Lady back up? She had a couple of other things that she wanted to say.
okay.
And
then
it gets too busy with more than 4 people.
Right. Then riddle me this really quick.
Okay.
Will, since she's had the baby, I know CPS has been around. Her 8-year has come to an end, but she still has 2 years left on parole.
No.
CPS, they still have to do the court-ordered DNA. Okay? So Ryan is still technically the father right now, not Ken.
No,
That's
because
awesome.
Ryan signed away his rights whenever Gypsy showed him that paternity test. That's why they were able to get the divorce. They wouldn't have been able to get the divorce without proof of paternity.
No, they're not divorced. They can't legally get divorced because she was pregnant.
No, they're divorced.
It wasn't
No,
mentioned
ma'am.
in the divorce that she was pregnant at all.
No, they're not divorced. When somebody is pregnant, the only thing that they settled on was income. It's a 50-50 community state items, community property.
Does
That's
anybody
what they settled on, but because she's pregnant, they can't finalize anything.
Does anybody have
300 days.
screenshots of the court documents that she posted? Because she legitimately posted that she was divorced.
But I can't believe anything Gypsy posts though.
So let me drop you down. I'm gonna try to find that, and I'm gonna add a Pug.
Okay.
Jamie down here says Naomi says she had a text from Ryan and that the divorce wasn't finalized.
It wasn't?
That's what the girl down here says, Jamie. She said Naomi said she keeps going.
Oh, Naomi.
Naomi said she had a text from Ryan.
Thank you, Beatnik, for coming up.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'm so sorry before, sometimes I think it's a bit of a lag, because I'm in Canada, I might be in a different time zone as you guys, so I am so sorry. I never want to be, like, cutting you guys off or over-talking, just sometimes it seems like it's silent, but I don't know if it actually is, so I really do apologize. I'm not trying to be rude. It's just, I don't know. I'm like, oh, there's a silence, you know?
I totally get that. I'm going to try to find this paperwork.
As for her divorce, yes, she's divorced. The only thing, I think the judge needed to sign off on it. However, which we brought up earlier in this conversation, because I think it's quite misogynistic, but whatever. I don't get how they didn't require another test or anything like that. Like, when I saw the paperwork, there was nothing to do with a child in that paperwork. And I don't just think, like, he can just say, okay, you know, I've decided to take, the biggest liar on the planet's word.
You can.
Good point. That's a good point, Pug Lady. Also, when Gypsy came out of the courthouse, she wasn't very ecstatic or happy, like, hey, I'm free. I found, maybe me and Ken can get married. She was more angry.
Yeah, she did look angry.
God,
like she didn't get her way. And I'm sure it's like
in 1999.
I'm sure it's rare that Gypsy does not get her way.
I think so too, but I do think she got her way in a lot of ways because Ryan could have taken her for basically everything that she's worth, and I don't think he did, and that's what is upsetting. He always makes excuses. Like I was watching, it was part of the Becca video, but he's like, that voice she uses is so cute. No, it's not cute. It's nauseating.
Look up the court documents because what I'm seeing is that they are divorced. I mean,
yes, I 1,000% think they are divorced. 100%.
So I feel like because they were going through a divorce, as the potential father, Ryan has the ability to be like, no, I know it's not mine. I don't want to pursue DNA. I don't want to pursue custody.
Do you have that choice? Like,
he does.
I
Yeah.
was shocked by Louisiana's law. I thought it was very misogynistic. I don't care about Gypsy. Let's take her out of it for a second because I hate her, but whatever. I just thought as a woman, it was a very misogynistic, backwards way of like having to, okay, you're pregnant, so now all of a sudden the guy, it was a kind of a gross law to me. But I live in Canada, so we don't have, like, we're all under a federal law when it comes to that kind of stuff, not, province by province. But I just wonder in that particular state, is that enough? Like, Viv, like, is that enough? Like, just saying, okay.
I know it would be.
I don't blame them.
I know it would be enough in South Carolina if there was nothing else to contest. Like if there's no property, no adultery, no anything, because like in South Carolina you can choose to get married or get a divorce through at fault or no fault. So if you choose at fault, then you have to prove that the person that you want to divorce is at fault of, habitual drunkenness, or they're a drug addict, or abandonment, or something along those lines. But if you go for a no fault divorce, it's much easier, but you do have to wait a certain timeline in order for that.
Do you get like extra stuff for that? Like, why would you do the at fault?
So because you can get divorced sooner. That's why.
I see.
So with an at-fault divorce, you're able to get divorced 6 months after separation. With the no-fault divorce, you have to wait an entire year. And you have to be legally living separately in order to get the divorce. So because they were living separately, Ryan could be like, yes, I know I'm not the father. I'm signing a paper that says that I'm not going to pursue custody or DNA or whatever, because he's the potential father. So he has the right to deny this child as his if he wanted to, but he also has the right.
Y'all want to do a poll in the chat?
Yeah,
Say,
you can.
Do red if you think Ron is the father.
How do I do that?
Ken is the father. Let's do a poll.
Let's do a poll. Blue for Ken, red for Ryan.
This comment. When I divorced my ex-husband, we didn't even fight for custody. He just signed off on the kids, and it was just like, that's it.
So whenever I divorced my first ex-husband, he and I have 2 children together. My second husband and I have no children together. But whenever I divorced my first husband, he and I came up with an agreement before our divorce. So it was in our divorce decree what we were going to do as far as custody was concerned. So we were able
Not the same,
to.
but I did that with my separation too, but it was with animals and stuff. Like we already had it planned.
Yeah, so we were able to agree on everything, walk into divorce court on the day of our divorce, and get the divorce that day. And I
Yeah.
think that that's exactly what Gypsy and Ryan are able to do as well. Like he doesn't have to there's no need to wait if he believes that that paternity test is true and accurate.
Correct.
How many people are in this poll?
It didn't look like very
I love
many.
Ryan. I love this girl that's making the videos of Ryan with the stuffed dog.
Oh yeah, she's so funny.
She's amazing.
Mandolin, I'm talking with the people on TikTok.
Let's do a poll, guys. Oh, am I the poll guy? Oh.
Who's is that child that Gypsy Rose just gave birth to? Is it my child? Lou says no. Yes, is red. I'm the worst. I can't do a southern accent.
Talking about that Oscar video. I was so annoyed. Because of that Oscar video, she made his heart melt, and he went and reached out.
God.
He gets away with everything with him. He's
kind of so. You know what I thought was the weirdest thing in that Becca video? Viv, maybe you also picked up on this. Was when she said a simp, and like when I thought of a simp, I thought of like a weirdo online that like doesn't get girls. Actually, there was a case of a simp who ended up, amming a bunch of people. That's what I think of. Right away, she thought of BDSM.
Yeah, and I honestly, if somebody had asked me what a simp was, I would have blurted out somebody who's like a homosexual.
What is that simple?
That's the last thing. They have more game than all of us.
I don't know what a simp is, but I definitely would not have connected it to BDSM.
I would have been like, can you spell it for me?
Yeah, like what is even a simp?
Like a weirdo online that can't get girls, so they start being creepy. That's what they were doing in the Idaho 4 case, is trying to paint him as a simp, which he wasn't.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So like,
a simp is like a creepy person online who's like, STALK girls.
So like a lonely internet dude.
What she said.
She right away went to what she used.
Yeah, what she's used to. She always tells on herself. She tells on herself in small ways and then kind of laughs it off to kind of cover up her true intentions,
I just wish somebody asks her the right questions.
Oh, and how is it that that CPS didn't ask the right questions? What fucking questions would you wanted them to ask?
Oh, you were 23.
Like,
CPS doesn't even account for you.
Like
you're not somebody that CPS even needs to look out
that
for.
Drove me question.
I got a bunch of shiza this morning because I said on a video, I'm just wondering, like, it was her video with her. I still think it's, until I see real proof, no one's going to convince me that this wasn't a photo op or whatever. But someone said, like, just because she did SHIT to her mom, you don't think she's going to be a good mom? Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, I would definitely agree that she's not going to be a good mom.
To your mom, she almost DEC to her. So we'll just leave it at that. Like, I feel like an idiot on TikTok because I never know what I can and can't say. But like, this is not like, we're not talking about a regular person here.
No, not at all. And somebody said that a simp is kind of like what Brie does for Gypsy. Like always kind of always kind of backing her up no matter what she does, like supporting her, like crazy support.
Yeah,
Is that the
I
best way
wanna
to
see
put
that
it?
more in like a more stalkerish kind of way. But you're absolutely right. Whoever said that, like it's you're wanting something, and I think for Brie it's attention.
Yeah, I think for Brie it's
Maybe
attention as
I'm
well.
afraid that she'll snap because she doesn't have. Everybody, whoever said that she doesn't have a temper is wrong.
Oh, she has a temper. She's shown it a few times.
I'd love for that
I'm afraid.
little tiny, like I'm
To
only
be a
5'5",
camera.
so I'm not big by any means. I'm 5'5", but I would love for that little gremlin to just come into my life, because there's a
I'm
lot
just
of
scared,
things
honestly, for the baby's sake when it comes to this whole Munchausen by proxy. That could be actually Gypsy.
Okay, so I have said this for a long time that I think that Gypsy had Munchausen on herself. Kind of like she was the one who was pretending like there were.
Munchausen.
Wait.
It's not by proxy, it's just Munchausen.
Yes, that she was creating all these issues because she knew that when she was sick, she got attention from her mom. So therefore, she wanted to be sick to get that attention and would more than likely create false things so that she could go to the doctor and get this attention. So I don't put it past her to do the exact same thing to get attention with her daughter.
I 1,000% couldn't agree with you more. There was actually a woman on Dr. Phil who I do not encourage watch. Dr. Phil's an idiot, but she had that. It was not by proxy. She had it on herself, and the stuff she was doing. I just remember I was eating breakfast and I was watching it, and I was like, had to put my breakfast away and not eat it because I was so. And her family was like, why are you doing this? She was injecting herself with stuff and whatever. It actually is a real thing.
That's crazy.
Yes.
I don't think I could ever purposely
disgusting.
make myself sick for attention like that. You must really seek validation. And we know that she does. We know that
she
done.
fakes it though, Viv.
Yeah.
She's not inducing anything, but she's faking it. Like you said, the video where she has a blank eye stare and then she falls backward. Guess what? As a mom, I'm videotaping you. What happened to you? Drop the camera and go take a rescue.
Yeah.
And that one time where her uncle was saying they were all in the trampoline. Tell me this, please. Tell me this. Make sense.
Oh yes.
As kids, do you think kids pay attention to their surroundings?
No.
When they're jumping on the trampoline, they jump on the other kids. You
Yeah.
know what? They don't care. They're having fun. This one saw her mom pull up. She drops what her uncle said,
a noodle,
like a wet rag.
Yeah, and it was because she didn't want her mom to know that she was healthy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why would you put her in there?
Yeah.
Did you guys? I think it was in Becca's newest video, but it's a well-known interview, so you guys have probably seen it. But she's sitting there in her fucking wheelchair, and she's like, "Yeah, and God blessed us with this home," and she's touching her mom's hand, and the way she's doing it.
Oh yeah.
Now I look at it, and I'm like, "What were you doing?" It was a very creepy, grabbing on your mother's hand. She knew she was almost 20 years old in that. I just don't know. Am I saying Dee Dee was totally innocent? No, I'm not.
I don't think any of us think that she was.
And whatever. But I do think she was actually being A-B-U-S-E to her.
Yeah, I do think that as well. I've always thought that. As soon as I realized that Gypsy was a narcissist and a pathological liar, I knew that she was abusing her mother in some way and that she was holding this con over her head as a way to manipulate her mom into not outing her for faking illnesses.
Absolutely. And Rod, where were you? Where were you and Christy?
Forget this.
I really love Becca's new video because she trolls her, but she doesn't. She doesn't do it. Like, I know she's trolling her, and you guys would know she's trolling her because we watch the stuff. We know Gypsy. But where were you? Where was Christy?
Rod
You
and
know,
Christy
you
weren't
didn't
there
pay
because
shit.
they didn't care to be there. They didn't want to have to deal with a chronically ill child. I mean,
Well, then, right now, Rod is still not wanting to
right.
be here. He's still
So think about it this way. You're married to someone who has a sick kid with someone else, and the person that you're married to is out of the home 3.5 weeks out of the month. And if you have to share any sort of custody with the ex-wife or the baby mama, 99.9% of the time that child would have been with Christy. Christy didn't want to have to deal with a chronically ill child.
Morgan, so just on that, I dislike Christy probably as much as I dislike Gypsy, just because I think that they're both two peas of a pod and they're both opportunists off of a schmurder of an innocent. Like, I don't. When I say innocent person, I feel bad, but she was. Just because she scammed people doesn't make her like a non
Like a bad person.
victim. But Morgan was posting a lot of their off that Gypsy white rose, Gypsy white, whatever the fuck she had. And like the messages that were going back and forth between her at that time and Christy, and all the language is Gypsy's.
Yeah, I've said that too.
yeah.
That she basically stole her mother's identity and was pretending to be her mom online so that she could talk to
Yes.
Dee Dee, and so that she could talk to Christy, and so that she could talk to Rod and see what they were saying about her.
Yeah, because she probably wanted to sleep with them
You
too.
literally stole her mom's identity. You're on the money right there.
Yeah, like I've seen Gypsy's kind. I know exactly who she is.
I know you do. I know you do. That's why I respect your opinion on this case so much.
Thank
because I know you've seen people like this, and I know you know.
And I'm sorry that
She
you didn't
is.
deserve that. Like, you're such a loving soul. Like, this, it's
Everyone
life
gets dealt a
experience.
everyone gets dealt a different hand. Everyone gets dealt a
Did you
different hand.
guys watch? I know this is a bit of a sore subject, and I apologize for that, but Morbid's Live the other day, Suzette came up and she showed pictures of Dee Dee at this like rock concert, and it was like a lot of people didn't believe her in the chat at first because we had just had Cats and Crochet and she was lying. So there were people that had their apprehensions about her being real. She is. And then she showed these pictures of Dee Dee at this concert. And I really think that it just really shows what a beautiful person that she actually was, and that her only bad decision was meeting Rod.
Yeah. I think that for me it's weird because she was so much older than Rod. But maybe she also had self-esteem issues and thought that it'd be easier to, find a guy that was younger. I don't really know. I know that Dee Dee was probably an empath, which is more than likely the reason why people were just drawn to her. And that was probably something that infuriated Gypsy because people don't naturally like her. She's not a likable person.
Well,
You know what I
you're
mean?
You're an empath.
Yeah.
I'm an empath. I don't know Queen Diva. I think she's beautiful, but I don't know her. But I know we are empaths, like too much to a fault. Like
Yeah.
I posted a video today of Gypsy, and I literally message every person that I know is part or close to the Petrie family, saying this is not an insult to them. Because now I feel obligated to do that because it's not. I have the greatest respect for her. I just think Gypsy is a big piece of S, you know? But I'm not mean. Like kind of the post I made, it was kind of mean.
There's a question from Michelle. But no, I agree with you. My heart is too big. I don't know if you heard the story. Like I care about everybody. My door has hearts on it because I love everybody. I care about everybody, every soul, everything. With that said, that's why I care so much about Dee Dee, and this is why I'm so passionate about this case, because even though the lady did what she had to do as a single mom, barely her family cared enough to help her with her sick child, when she moved into the house, she was trying her best to give back to the community in her own way.
She was.
To cleanse off. And then she did get rebaptized to cleanse off. And
The
then
negative.
the whole Hobby Lobby business is Gypsy.
Yeah,
The
I don't.
baptism thing though, like, can we go back to that just for a second? Because so I was like, I'm from England. We moved to Canada, so I'm of the Anglican faith. You get baptized once. I did it as a baby. I guess it's not. Like I'm more of a spiritual person now. However, I don't disagree with like religion. I think it's a good thing. Why in the goddamn why was she drinking holy water and saying she had like 32 baptisms?
Who?
Gypsy. Oh God.
Oh,
Go by
she.
what she says.
I think that she says that because she thinks that it makes her look like a better person. I think that everything.
Just got baptized again. How many times
I don't
do
think
you
that
die?
any of
You
that
don't
is
get
true.
baptized.
Honey, I don't think that any of that is true. I think that Gypsy just says things that she thinks other people want to hear, so it makes her look better as a person because she's not a good person. Everything that she dislikes about herself, she is trying to like pretend doesn't exist. And the way that she does that is by projecting everyone else's good qualities onto her that she doesn't have.
So I'll say I am not a religious person. I don't yes, I was baptized and whatever. But I'll say like do I go to church? No. Do I believe in God? Yes. Do I whatever? So Toddy was reading her book, and the amount of religious things that were in there were even offensive to me, and I'm not even religious.
I think that she mocks religion because it was something that was important to her mother. Yeah.
I thought her mother was a witch.
Gypsy's the witch. Gypsy projects. You guys, I've got about 3 more minutes and then I have to go so that I can start getting ready for bed because I have like work in the morning and stuff. I want to say thank you to everybody who came on and shared this time with me. I know I had intentions on reading our book. We will do that. I promise we will do that. But I did want to discuss Gypsy with all the new news that was coming out because I felt like it was something that everybody wanted to hear my opinion on. So I felt like doing a live was going to be a lot easier than replying to comment after comment after comment on a video because that can get time consuming, whereas if we just come on panel and have a conversation, it's a little bit easier to communicate with one another and not have all my day taken up with trying to reply to comments. So,
Which,
and
thank you so much for having me.
yeah,
And-
you're
Yeah, you
gorgeous.
guys are so cute. I was also trying to reply to my comments today.
It's hard. It's a lot of work.
No, I'm left, Eddie.
Queen Diva, I can tell you've got a really good soul and a really sweet spirit. So I thank you for coming up and just putting all that energy.
And I do think if people are religious out there, and like I do apologize, like for what she said in the book. Like I feel offended.
So
I'm not religious. So
somebody said in the chat that in most religions you only need to get baptized one time and that is it. So a lot of times when children are going to church, like as a child, a lot of times adults will baptize the child, like before the child even knows what being baptized means.
as a baby.
Yeah.
I was baptized as a baby.
Right. And so as an adult, that child may want to get baptized for themselves as like their own individual choice and decision. So it is common to have done twice, once as a baby and then once as an adult, when you're able to make that decision on your own. But outside of once as a baby and once as an adult, there's really no reason to continuously baptize yourself.
You don't have to drink holy water and do this 19 times like the freaking exorcist of Emily Rose. Wait, what? That's insane. I'm sorry, England, we don't have time for that shit.
Yeah,
you
it's
get
just
baptized once and you're good. We're not taking you in 19 times to do that.
yeah, it's just weird that she would think that that's important to people, but I think that she felt insignificant because it was probably something that she didn't want to do. You know what I mean?
Probably burned her skin every single time. So, and I'm assuming probably was like such a horrendous experience for her because the holy water was like burning your goddamn skin. I swear to God, I love true crime. I know you're going. I'm just gonna say this. I love true crime. I've lots of serial killers, lots of people. The reason that I feel as passionate as I do about this specific person is because I really feel that they are evil.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on one last thing before we go. There were a couple of comments made in Gypsy's book in reference to her sister Nicolette, and we all know that Rod pretty much gave up his right to that child. So it doesn't seem like out of norm for him to be like, okay, bye-bye to this chronically ill child, if he would give up custody and parental rights to a perfectly healthy child that's
They
a
were
few
pregnant at the same time.
yeah, like they were pregnant at the same time. And then for her to go into her book and say that Nicolette's mom wanted to have an abortion, like, how could you possibly?
If I were Nicolette, because she seems like a very beautiful, I've seen pictures of her. She seems like a very beautiful, put together person. I'm sure she's not listening right now, but if she is, please do something against this. Like, come one of you, whether it's the Petrie family, whether it's you, whether it's Nick's family, which unfortunately is a loss of one person. She made me sick when she brought up Stephanie in her conversation with Kale. Or Kai, or whatever her fucking name is. I don't know, Kale, Kai, whatever. You don't put that woman's name in your mouth. You literally texted her saying her son was fine.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. Like, she has no empathy for what anybody went through other than her. She even said, what's the point in me being in here? It's not going to bring my mom back.
You know what? I was actually
you hear
thinking
that?
of you the other day. I was driving my car and I thought of you, and I was
Uh-uh.
thinking of this thought, and it was that, can you imagine, like, let's all of us just go into imagination land for a second, but can you imagine Nick's brother, who
No.
was so young, and then they did this raid on his home, which was probably very, very traumatizing. And the entire time prior to that, his dad said they were like banging in the room, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
sick.
Especially
and
with a
she
small
had
brother
the
there.
nerve to talk about how dirty and stuff. Okay, you're dirty, so I don't know how you're judging anyone else, but if we can just think about like him for a moment, and then he's brought into this interrogation room with his dad, and he's picks it like his image is like obviously not there, but then his mom goes into active addiction, which Viv and I know very well what that looks like, and how sad that is to see somebody go back into active addiction, and then she passes, and this girl comes out and she's living her best life.
Well, the good news is that Stephanie, and I hate to say it in this way, but we have to look at things on the bright side. At least she didn't live to see Gypsy doing this.
Thank you.
Because imagine what.
I worry about his brother. I worry about like, because I would like literally be like, yep, no.
Imagine what that would have done to his mom if she had come out of prison and Stephanie had to watch her like living her best life, getting pregnant, doing all of the things that Nicholas is not, that her son is not able to do. Like that would have probably drove her to enrage. Like it would have, like for me, if that was my son, I would have been so enraged that I would have wanted to physically do something. Like, you know what I mean? Like I would have wanted to seek revenge on my own.
Like not you, I won't say you. I'll use me. I have a history of like, substance abuse. So if something like that happened to me, I can't imagine the coping mechanisms that I would have had to do. So when she on the Kale interview, or whatever her name is, when she just so lightly goes, "Oh yeah, Stephanie, she overdosed." Number one, she didn't just overdose. She was like sober for like 10 years before this shit. So it's not like she was an active, even if she was, it wouldn't even matter to me. She did this because of you.
And it happened.
But like she did this because of Gypsy.
And it happened right like a week after the anniversary, or a few days after. So it was really weighing heavy on her heart. And she sought solace in drugs, unfortunately. All right, you guys, I gotta go. Love you guys so much. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me. And I will see you guys tomorrow.
I do not think 2025 is like going well for not being a bitch for me.
7 p.m. tomorrow.
I love you so much, and keep it up.
Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m.
Love you, and you're amazing.
Love you.
I wish I could get you to do my pets.
You're too far.
Yeah, no, and they're pugs. They don't really need that. So
have a good night.
Maybe their nails cut, but yes, have a good night, honey.
I'll talk to you guys later. I know that a lot of people get really passionate about talking about Gypsy, and it can be a little difficult to keep people from interrupting. That's the most frustrating part about having other people on panel. But I wanted to have this discussion. That's what I said. I wanted to have this discussion with everyone about all the new news that was going on, because I felt like it would have been better to do that than to put out a video. And because replying to comments can be overwhelming, especially when I have like a full-time business to run during the day. And I really wanted to like hang out with y'all and have a lighthearted conversation, but also a serious conversation at the same time. I really appreciate you guys for coming and hanging out with me and liking the live and sharing the live and all the stuff. It's hard for me to catch up with the comments. So thank you guys for keeping up with the comments and like entertaining each other in the comment section, because it can be difficult for me to look at both platforms both times. Eventually, I'll probably need to get a moderator to help me, but until we get to that point, it's only me. You guys have a wonderful evening, and I will see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you, Lexi. I love you being here. You're learning a lot. Good, Connie. I'm so glad. I'm happy that there's a place where we can all come, hang out together, learn, have a little chit chat, have a little laugh, get serious, but also get goofy and have fun. Yeah. No drama, no stress, just, enjoyment.